Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's just past 1:00 p.m., so we're going to go ahead and get started. First, let me say thank you and welcome for joining us today for this information session about the Community Foundation's new nonprofit capacity building grants. My name is Genevieve Kirk, and I'm the Center for Nonprofit Excellence Director here at the Community Foundation. And just want to check, are you all able to see my slides at this moment? Okay, great. Well, I wanted to start with just a couple housekeeping notes for our Zoom session. So first, just a friendly reminder to please keep your microphone on mute during the presentation. We're going to be offering a dedicated time for questions and answers following our walkthrough of the grant guidelines. You'll be invited to raise your hand if you'd like to voice a question, or you can submit your questions via the chat. And last, we wanted to let you know that this session is being recorded for the benefit of participants who are not able to join us for the live Zoom session. And here is our brief agenda today. It's going to be pretty quick. We're going to start with some staff introductions so you can get to know our small but mighty team here at the Community Foundation. Then we're going to walk through the capacity building grant guidelines, including the purpose, eligibility. We'll show you a few examples of capacity building projects. We'll talk through evaluation criteria that our volunteer grant committee will be reviewing, timeline and next steps, and then we'll end with questions and answers. So that's our plan for today. I'm expecting this will take about 30 minutes, but we've allocated up to 45 in case we have some extra questions that you'd like to discuss. So that's our plan. And now we'd like you to meet our team. You'll see that there are 3 of us here on staff at the Community Foundation. I'll go first. My name is Genevieve. Again, I'm the Center for Nonprofit Excellence Director, and I'm the newest of our 3 staff members. I began last August. I've been here for just about a year. My role at the Community Foundation is to expand and enhance our offerings through our Center for Nonprofit Excellence. So I facilitate trainings and workshops to help our local nonprofits and their boards to be as effective as possible. I'd like to invite Angie or Kristen to go ahead and introduce yourselves as well.
I'll hop on. Hi, everyone. I'm Angie Marker. I'm the CEO of the Community Foundation. I've been in this role just over a year, but I've been with the Community Foundation for almost 6 years. So I've been a part of some of our granting cycles in the past, and we're really excited about this new granting cycle and really see it as a pressing need in our community. All of you have expressed that this would be really helpful to you and to your organizations to have some capacity building, flexible grant making. So happy to be here today and answer any questions.
Hi, my name is Kristen Dusdeker. I'm the Grants and Scholarships Manager. I've been here for about 9 years now. I'm in charge of the application software, so I'm the one you'd want to call if you have any technical problems, can't get signed on, create your account, anything like that. I do want to mention that if anyone has already completed a community commitment grant within the past 2 years, you have an account with us already, so you can just sign on to that account, and this application will be showing there for you to use. So hope to see a bunch of applications. Thanks.
Great, thank you, Angie and Kristen. Trying to get my slides to move ahead here. Okay, great, here we are. I just wanted to give everyone a quick overview of our capacity building grant guidelines, which hopefully you've seen. They are accessible on our website, cfeci.org. In the past, the Community Foundation awarded several micro grants or mini grants for capacity building. Usually it happened in May, June, and these were for up to $1,500, mainly allocated for nonprofit directors or perhaps a staff member to attend a conference or a training event. And this new capacity building grant cycle is, I think of it as a massive expansion of those previous micro grants. So how this came to be, back in April, our Center for Nonprofit Excellence conducted a nonprofit needs assessment that was completed by 58 respondents in our local community. These are mainly executive directors, and some board members and staff members in our service area completed the survey. The survey identified capacity building and technical assistance needs of local nonprofits. And what we heard through the survey was resource development and human resources. These were identified as the major top challenges by respondents. So this data is helping us tailor our educational content for some of the trainings and workshops that we are doing to better address these needs in the coming year. And it made the case to our Board of Trustees to allocate funding in the form of flexible grants for capacity building needs. So we believe that by focusing our efforts that allow you to improve your organization's capacity, you'll be better positioned to achieve the mission work that you're doing in so many different service areas. So in celebration of the Community Foundation's 50th anniversary, which we're celebrating this year, we'll be awarding up to $50,000 in capacity building grants to eligible nonprofits to improve an identified area of operations. And these capacity building grants require a 10% matching contribution. So what do we mean by capacity building? I thought we'd define this term for you. This comes from the National Council of Nonprofits. Capacity building is whatever is needed to bring a nonprofit to the next level of operational, programmatic, financial, or organizational maturity, so it may more effectively and efficiently advance its mission into the future. Capacity building is not a one-time effort to improve short-term effectiveness, but a continuous improvement strategy toward the creation of a sustainable and effective organization. So hopefully this definition kind of helps flesh out a little bit about what we're talking about with capacity building, which is quite broad in nature and I think can apply to a number of different areas of operations. So the purpose of the new capacity building grants are to support projects that improve capacity in an identified area of organizational operations. So this includes, but is not limited to, communications, data management, diversity, equity, and inclusion, financial management, fundraising, governance, leadership, mission and strategy work, program delivery, and program evaluation. Again, there's a lot of leeway here, so this is not an exhaustive list, but this will give you some ideas of organizational operations that we're referring to with respect to capacity building. Now, in terms of eligibility, to be eligible to apply for a nonprofit capacity building grant, we have two main criteria. First, you must be a charitable, tax-exempt 501c3 organization with no less than 2 years of operation. Organizations with an annual budget size of 1 million or less will be given priority in funding consideration. Organizations of over 1 million are invited to apply as well, but just note that priority will be given to smaller nonprofits in our service area. And you must be located in or serving residents of our service area, which includes a 9-county region: Champaign, Piatt, Ford, Iroquois, Vermilion, Edgar, Douglas, Coles, and Moultrie counties are all part of our service area. So eligible activities, applications should be for one of the following eligible activities. In some ways, this is a bit of examples for you. Board training and education, staff training and leadership development, strategic planning, succession planning, technology, software improvements that improve your capacity. And then here, this bottom one is kind of a catch-all in many ways: other assessment, consulting, one-on-one coaching, or facilitation that improves an identified area of organizational capacity. So I think the key here is spelling out the need and connecting it to how it will improve the capacity of your organization for your mission work. So some specific examples could be leadership development, supporting a leadership training experience for 2 or more team members of your leadership or management team. Planning activities could be organizational assessments, strategic planning, fund development, communications, marketing, or business planning. board development activities like leadership training, executive coaching, defining the role of the board and strengthening governance. And then internal operations, improvements to your financial management, human resources, or volunteer management. Technology improvements could be IT capacity through upgrades to hardware and software, networking, websites, and staff training to optimize your use of technology. So there's a lot here. We're really stressing the word flexible grant making when we were talking about this with nonprofits that completed the survey, as well as with our board of trustees. That's what we heard from you, and we've tried to make this as flexible as possible. So we encourage you to identify training, consulting, one-on-one coaching opportunities that meet your organizational needs. And I would say that if you are struggling to know, who is a consultant or who even works on strategic planning in our community, in preparation for this grant cycle, the Community Foundation has been compiling a list of local consultants that work on various nonprofit capacity building areas. And so if you would like to review this list of consultants, perhaps make some connections with some of these individuals, just email me. You'll get my email here in a second. It's Genevieve@cfeci.org, and I'd be happy to email you this list so that you can review it and make some connections prior to applying. How will you be evaluated? That's a really good question. So applications for nonprofit capacity building grants will be reviewed by a volunteer grant review committee, similar to our annual community commitment grants. And final decisions about funding will be made by our board of trustees. So I always think it's helpful to know, how are you going to be evaluated? There are 4 main criteria here that our grant review committee will be looking at. First is mission. Is the organization's mission and programming valuable in raising the quality of life in East Central Illinois? So that's our vision statement at the Community Foundation. Secondly, impact. Does the organization clearly identify one area of organizational capacity that the project will improve the organization's ability to fulfill its mission? And then readiness. Does the organization demonstrate that this is a good time to undertake the project and show that it has a strong commitment from its leadership, staff, board members, basically any other stakeholders that will be involved in assisting with the project? And then finally, the project plan. Is the capacity building project plan clear? Is it achievable with specific measurable goals? So those are the 4 criteria that our volunteer committee will be looking at as they review applications. So grant amount, you may request up to $5,000 for a nonprofit capacity building for grant. It does require a 10% match from your organization. So if your total is $5,000 that you're asking for, your match would be $500. If you're looking at a project that's $4,500 and that's what you're applying for, the match would be $450. That makes sense. Then the total amount that will be granted out is $50,000 from the Community Foundation, up to $50,000. In terms of timeline, when's everything happening? Well, the application portal is already open. It opened on September the 1st. And it is open through September the 30th. So it will close out at the end of the day on September the 30th. So that's your final deadline for getting in your application for this grant cycle. You'll be notified of your application status in November, and your projects then will start anytime January 1st, 2023, and must be completed by the end of 2023. It's okay if your project will only take, 3 months or 6 months of the time in 2023, but it must be completed by the end of that calendar year. So in terms of next steps, pretty simple. Basically fill out and submit your grant application to the Community Foundation through the grant portal by September the 30th. Applying for a grant, it does not guarantee your funding. We're anticipating that the Community Foundation will receive many more applications than we have funding available to distribute, but we really do encourage you to apply for your capacity building needs. I also wanted to just throw in there that staff members of the Community Foundation are not on the grant review committee, but we are here to help you if you have questions or technical needs. We are here to support you with those needs as you apply. And with that, here are our email addresses for all three of us, Angie, myself, and Kristen. Our office number is listed here. And now I would like to go ahead and open it up to whatever questions you have. And again, you're invited to put your questions in the chat, or if you'd like to raise a hand and unmute yourself to voice your question, we invite you to do that. Go ahead, Matt.
Hi there. Thank you. Matt Dratt from Nexus Family Healing in Onarga, Illinois, Iroquois County. In looking at the application itself and the guidelines document, first of all, thank you for that information. I don't see any mention of a post-grant or midway grant evaluation from the Community Foundation with the nonprofit in question. So is there something that that there's other information regarding that, or can you walk us through a little bit about what your typical process might be in that?
Yes, and I'm going to defer to my colleagues for that. I believe that it's following the same evaluation progress as we require of our community commitment grant cycle. Kristen or Angie, would you be able to speak to that?
Sure, this is Kristen. Yeah, it's pretty easy. We don't need a 10-page dissertation on what you did. We mainly are looking at expenses, exactly how did the money get spent. We'd like to have receipts, something that shows that. Sometimes it's just a bill from the consultant. And then just a quick paragraph or two about, did it work for you? Did it not work for you? What do you see going forward? How this is really going to help your organization? We just kind of want to make sure that it is going to help, you know, and let us know if maybe the person you worked with didn't work out. That's something we need to know for the future too. So nothing really hard. When you do, if you do get the grant, win the grant, we will send you something that kind of gives you a little breakdown of a couple of questions we'd like answered. Nothing hard at all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions folks have?
I'm not gonna do this one.
Okay, so I'm seeing a question if we can offer sample ideas. So do you mind sharing, like, is there a specific topic of operational?
Okay, so I don't know if I'm muted or unmuted. Can you
You're
hear me?
unmuted, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So I'm from St. Paul's Lutheran School in Woodworth in Iroquois County. And I'm just trying to figure out how our school can take advantage of it, since we're a non-public and nonprofit school. What all would be some great examples?
So I would encourage you to look at the slide where we listed out some examples. I mean, does your school have a strategic plan? Are there gaps in your board development that you're wanting to fill? Basically, as you look at the big picture of what your school is doing, what would help you to move to that next level? Or I would think through, yeah, what are the main challenges that you're experiencing at this point in time? And then think what would that project be with capacity building that would enable you to fill those gaps and or push you to that next level. It could be succession planning. We know many organizations might have a director that's getting ready to retire in a few years, but there's no plan in place for when that individual leaves. So could this be some succession planning for your organization? Really, it's pretty broad, but if you had a specific area that you're looking at and wanted to talk through with your board, what are our needs? I think that would be a good place to start.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. I'm seeing a second question. Can an organization apply with numerous projects? We want you to apply one time and to identify one specific project that you'd like to work on for capacity building. That's part of the criteria. There might be a case where you're kind of straddling two different things with your project, like the capacity will affect not just one specific challenge, but it will impact other things. You can address that in your application, but we do want one main focus, please.
And someone asked if it can be for the entire leadership team. Absolutely. I think there are a lot of potential projects that you would want to have your entire leadership team involved, especially strategic planning or some sort of consultant who's coming in to help with those efforts.
And it could even be a project that involves your board as well. For example, if it were strategic planning, many consultants would want to convene your board and other stakeholders in that process. So, yeah. Other questions that you'd like answers or input on?
Genevieve, when you all were talking about capacity related to information technology, did any specific ideas come up into your mind as you were putting that on the list of eligible spaces?
Well, I'm thinking back to our survey, and people identified a number of different issues and needs. It could be a volunteer management software. It can be an update in, maybe your organization is using Excel sheets or something for your accounting and you want to switch over to QuickBooks, but you would need the funds for that. It could be, hardware improvements that you're wanting to move away from old desktops and get everyone a laptop, and that would increase your capacity by being able to be mobile. I mean, all of these are kind of off the top of my head, but they are at needs that would certainly improve capacity of an organization. You're welcome. And I'm looking at another question that was submitted in the chat. If a few organizations can apply together, for example, 3 similar organizations want to collaborate on developing their boards. I'm going to, again, defer to this one to Angie and Kristen to get your input.
We have awarded some collective impact grants in the past, and I think we would be open to that. I don't want to speak for the committee, but I like the idea of organizations collaborating together, and it allows us to sort of stretch our dollar as well. So if the missions are similar, I think it would make more sense than if they weren't. Yeah, I don't see any issue with that.
Any other questions that you'd like to ask? I'll just leave it open another minute or so if you're thinking, and we're trying to formulate the best way to ask your question. Feel free. Otherwise, I'll close us out in just a couple of minutes.
And by all means, if you don't feel comfortable asking in this public forum, just shoot us an email or give us a call, and we'll be happy to chat through any questions you might have.
Genevieve, this is Denise. Is your PowerPoint available for us to look at again? Would you send that out as an email or?
Yes, absolutely. I will send it out as an email. I'm also going to go ahead and just share with you, with this group and anyone who RSVP'd for this session, the list of consultants and coaches, in case, just for your view. Again, these are not recommendations. These are just a place to start, and we've listed some of their specialties. And if you have any people that you think should be added to our list of consultants and coaches, please let me know, and I'd be happy to do so. That's something that we're trying to build out. So yes, you'll get an email from me, Denise, after this meeting, and everyone here. Any final questions? Well, great. You were all so easy and pleasant, and happy belated Labor Day. I hope you had a nice holiday weekend. Well, Kristen and Angie and I are here at the office Monday through Friday. Should you have any questions from now through September the 30th and then beyond that time as well. We encourage you to, if you want to come to any of our Center for Nonprofit Excellence events, hop on over. We're doing a board boot camp on September the 27th on the topic of board engagement, and how that can help bolster your organization's fundraising efforts. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Thanks for being here and hope you have a great rest of your day.